The issue in today's gospel is about the law. Jesus' disciples are accused by the Pharisees, who were experts of the law, by the way, of violating the law, the third commandment about the Sabbath day. What did they do wrong anyway? Simple, they were hungry and they picked a few grains or a few heads of grains of wheat and ate them. In Tagalog, we'd call it pamatay gutom. The third commandment says, thou shalt not keep holy, or thou shalt keep holy the Sabbath day. No work was supposed to be done on this holy day. But, of course, they picked heads of grains. And that's harvesting. And harvesting is working. Therefore, they violated the law. I imagine the exchange between Jesus and the Pharisees. Jesus probably said to them, but they were hungry. And they just picked a few stalks of grain to relieve their hunger. And the Pharisees would say, oh, excuse me, it's Sabbath. That's against the law. You're not supposed to work on Sabbath day. This is just one of the many occasions that Jesus was questioned by people about the Sabbath. You know, there was another occasion where he healed a man on a Sabbath day, and he was also accused of breaking the law. And how did Jesus argue with them? He said, which one of you who has a sheep that falls into the pit on Sabbath day will not take hold of it and lift it out? Do you expect the owner to wait until after the Sabbath in order to save the poor sheep who fell into the pit? Well, let's make it more simple. Let's say, mayroong isang ama, a father had a son, and they were fishing by the lake, and there was something written there, a prohibition, swimming not allowed. But unfortunately, the son, the child, the son of the father falls into the lake. Swimming not allowed. So, will he violate the law because he saved his son? He went swimming. What takes priority? The law or the people for whom the law was established? Jesus is driving home precisely this point. That is why his conclusion is, the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath. Sa simpleng salita, the point is that the laws are created only to serve people. The moment we forget this principle, we violate the purpose of the law. You know, I have a little confession to make. When I hear people making a joke of lawyers as liars, I do not laugh. I feel silently offended because I have a high regard for the profession, because I come from a family of lawyers. My late father was a lawyer. My two siblings are lawyers. I have one nephew and two nieces who are lawyers. And I have never known them as liars. And I have also met a lot of good and exemplary lawyers in my life. They say the best lawyers are not legalistic. They are people-oriented. The legal profession, I believe, is not a matter of memorizing the law, even if that is very important. It is rather more about caring for people's human dignity, a sense of justice and fairness. It is about making sure that the poor, the uneducated, and the disadvantaged are not taken advantage of, following that principle that those who have less in life should have more in law. My friends, it is dangerous when the laws are made and deliberately used as weapons against people, when they are used as a tool for politics, when they are used for staying in power or for intimidating people. When that happens, we're doomed. Why? Because we ourselves will tend to lose respect for the law. When people begin to get the impression that you can get away with murder anyway, with just the right political influence or connections, or if the price is right, you lose respect for the law. You know, it has often been asked by people, how come? How come daw Filipinos are more law-abiding citizens in other countries than in the Philippines? Could this be because we know that in our country, the law tends to be optional? That very much depends on one's position in society? That the attitude of those who behave with impunity is, what are we in power for? Jesus is very practical. He uses his common sense when it comes to the law. He summarized them into two. You must love the Lord your God above all, and you must love your neighbor as yourself. And everything else is just commentary.